Alright, we continue to scratch that trading itch until there's nothing but stub, but we're back to it. Patrician 4 and the story of Marvin von Riga and his global Hanseatic saturation. Sorry, I feel like I've played something that's quite traumatizing lately. Let's try to forget about that. Welcome back to the Hansa. I did quite a bit of grunt work off stream, and I'll try to cover what that was. For one, I realized it was kind of a terrible idea to finish off all of my fleet names with 01, 02, 03 because it doesn't really tell me anything. So I switched them out for saying west, east, or central, shortened to Charlie, Echo, or Whiskey, then a number, because it's going to become the case where I want at least 2 routes on just about everything here, so that everybody can remain at least somewhat supplied in an even sense, because if we just have, let's take the west for example, they start in Rostock, they go to Stavanger, Bergen, Edinburgh, la 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 la. By the time they get to Bremen, there's a good chance they're going to be empty, so the poor Bremen, Hamburg and Ripon are not going to get what they need. Which is what we're seeing right now with regards to Ripon and their tools. They need tools in order to produce pelts, and okay, they have quite a lot of pelts, I should see to that. Which is why it would also be handy to have another one which goes around, in this case clockwise, starting by hitting up Ripon, then Hamburg, Bremen, la 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 la, going around like that. So that bit of naming convention will help us out. Another thing that I've done is I have standardized the counting houses across the board, where that they will actually sell everything they have, because I don't need to hold on to goods anymore for the sake of charming the princes. I may well need some for feeding the poor, but that's another matter entirely, and I can just buy those from the market. It also means that the amounts that they store are standardized everywhere except for the raw materials that they need. So Groningen, for example. Oh, and the amount that I tell them to keep is 60,000 population's 20-day demands, rounded up wherever possible. So Groningen, for example, I have left them with tons of hemp and a fair chunk of salt, because they're going to need that for the fish that they will someday produce, according to my massive document, wherever that is. Where are you hiding at? I was playing Thumper earlier, and like all good games, it completely messed up my resolutions, because what is multi-monitor support? Is that it? That looks like it, except that's not at all what I want to do. Now we're spoiling things. This is what we're looking at. And I love this spreadsheet. It's so useful for me for just about everything. But let's get rid of that for now. What else was I doing? Well, there probably was stuff that I was doing. Making sure all my ships are lined up as well they should be. And yeah, that about covers it actually. Counting houses and renaming it took quite a bit of time. Also, all our wonderful inland places are looking pretty good. They're working on their walls. I'm keeping them well supplied with wood and brick. And Rostock is actually looking pretty good as well, since they've got all those building materials that we are going to need in earnest. I don't care so much that they're facing counting house charges. We are working on some warehouses there. Canadian Jihad says, "Hey Jake, I was just watching your Rostov vid on YouTube. I realized that you're having the same problem as I am, getting war contribution. It seems that EU4 doesn't reward sieges and manpower losses from sieges." It does reward sieges, just not on unfortified provinces, or rather that's reduced by such a huge amount, so you gotta siege up forts and actually engage in battles. Jake seems to have an undiagnosed brain injury that somehow makes him enjoy this game. This game is just nothing but work. Okay, speaking of work, we're gonna get to that. I'm not too worried about how things are right now. In fact, I'm confident that I can leave my Hansa pretty hands-off for a good while, but there are 2 main things I want to deal with, and I'm going to deal with the first one right now. Ripon, with all of these things, you're going to produce, well, assuming you had what you need, 60 of these a day, 600 in 10 days, so 1 cog should really be able to take care of this. Where are my cogs? Those are my cogs. I'm actually going to split off a couple of you. 2 of you should actually do just fine, but let's somewhat future-proof it and call it 3 of them. Build ourselves a convoy, and you are going to be the Ripon to Rostock Pelt. And I need a name, as I always do. I'm referring to my ship document, and as always there are some really weird ones, but I see Midsummer. as a name, and that works out pretty well. Since it is, after all, midsummer right now. There we go. Rippen to Rostock, pelts, midsummer. It's very simple. You go from Rippen, you hit up Rostock. It only takes you 7 days. You grab all the pelts, you unload and you load max. Then you go to Rostock and just dump. Hold on, I did that the wrong way around. You do not unload jack when you get to Rippen. And you do not load jack when you're in Rostock. Wow, that was almost tragic. That's what happens when I don't play this game for a few days. How dare I? And that should help the pelt trade quite a bit. So get to work and grab those extra cogs. There we go. I mean, we have tons of cogs. It's good to put them to some kind of work here. Patty is such a good game compared to RE5. You can't tell me about it. Now, the enjoyment I had playing RE5 had very little to do with RE5 and very much to do with me playing it with Lucky. That game was not good. Okay, that was a thing that I did. What else do I have to do? Now, what I had done due to my standardization of the counting houses buying and selling is that I'm going to find a lot of my fleets suddenly stopping what they're doing because they don't have enough goods to actually do their routes. So they're going to sit idle for a while. I expect this number of ships is going to, or convoys rather, is going to explode. Might even be 30 to 50 large. But I'll let them chill for about a month and then tell them to get back to work because it needs that time for the various places to actually build up their number of goods. And then there's places like Rippen which just don't have metal goods, so they won't be working well. Maybe I can grab the good old wild card Thagnus and actually help them out with their metal tool problem. We don't have a lot of metal tools. That's in itself a problem. Maybe they're stuck somewhere. Who actually makes my tools right now? According to this, it is Groningen, Flensburg and Malmö are the main producers. Malmö are not sitting on many. Gotham City are not sitting on many. And then Groningen, come again? No, they're not doing much either. Okay, that's a bit of a pain, but what can you do? Well, what can I do? Yeah, I normally do this check, but didn't bother, but I trust everything looks and sounds okay. It probably is. Okay, so with that going on, there's something else that I want to look at. There's a big problem I have, and the main place I'm feeling it is over in Novgorod. That is that I really want to boost up the population here, because I filled this city out something rotten. Actually, I wrote something down about Novgorod, didn't I? Let me check my little book of tricks here. Massive thump coming from my Patrician 4 book. Rip into Rostock pelts, done. Yes, Novgorod. Novgorod, I was worried about not having enough space because I had 605 businesses and 610 houses. I was a fool though, I wasn't paying attention to the fact that the AI of course had houses here. I just assumed that the AI had completely ignored Novgorod as they do. So with that in mind, and also with the fact that I have these beekeepers that I'm not going to be using at all either, I'm going to demolish those to make space for what I want, which is yet more dairy farms. I need 5 more of those, I believe. Well, 9 more now. Probably. Sounds like something I would... Ah, shoot. Can I undo that? Game says nope. Thank you, game. Means I can deconstruct a whole load of houses and instead build up the things that I need in Novgorod, like chapels and what are they? Chapels and... Man, I can't believe words are filling me so bad right now. The thing that stops sick people from being sick. Infirmaries, thank you. So there we go, now I've got my 610 and fewer houses, but that's okay. I know that I can happily remove a bunch of houses here. 42 of them, I guess. That's fine. That's more than fine. But there's something else I need to do. Oh, alright, I was meant to be looking at Novgorod for a certain thing here. The main problem I have in Novgorod is that the population is capped at 10,000, and the problem is that they're not upgrading their minister to And I want them to do that here in the city council, but they keep constructing defensive towers. There is something that I was playing around with and then came to find out. And that is that I actually can get around the problem that I've been finding here. So if I go to Bergen, for example, where they have been forever locked in this defensive tower and Hanseatic status, if I go to the upgrade and I give them a ridiculous sum of money, so what's that, like, that's a lot of money, that's 20 million. Could I not give them that? Could I give them like 1 million instead? Ka-ching. And maybe I have to do that again because they love money for this. There we go, now they will apply for Hanseatic Council. And there we go. Bang, Bergen is now a Hanseatic city. Now I can become the mayor here and do whatever filthy things I want to the city. And I can go around all the places that are, for example, trading posts, and just pour money into them so that I can then do all my lovely things to them. So I give them 1 million ducats, and then they're going to apply. And then I look at the place, and you are going to do it, right? You're not going to screw me. Hanseatic City, Edinburgh. Now that's really handy because places need to be Hanseatic cities for me to do that. Moving myself to their city is what I'm trying to get at. I don't need to worry about the places where I have become essentially God, so that's okay. But places like London, for example, some subsidiary town, that's just disgusting. So I go here and I say, no, you are now a Hanseatic city. Take my millions of ducats, and it really does cost millions. And then they'll get it done. I'm not too worried about that. So everywhere that isn't a Hanseatic city, I've just got to pour a few million onto them. But that's a wonderful thing about having such a disgusting amount of money. We can do this. There we go. And I do it to all the subsidiaries and trading posts, and then they will get there. Because this is part of the my next big plan. What's the point in doing this if you ain't got a plan? Cologne is a city. Haarlem is a city. Of course it is. It was my one. Rhön again, which a certain Worms player is from. Or is in. I didn't quite catch that. Surprisingly they aren't, but we'll change that now. Just throwing my money away, but you know, this is what we've been doing for a while. No, Bremen is good. Of course it's good. It's our home city right now. Hamburg is a city. We don't care about these inland ones because really what can I do with them? You need a certain population to apply for it, so of course these guys aren't going to get there. Ripon, again, another trading post, and we need to sort that. Now you might reasonably wonder why I'm doing this, but we'll get there. Like I said, this is part of the plan. Bergen, I just threw money at. Stavanger is my own one. Oslo is just a trading post, which is utterly disgusting. Let's change that. And I know that it works because this is the text that changes. Majority of the council is blah de blah, and then they get along and do it. Gotham City is fine, it's my one. Aalborg, for the longest time, was the biggest city we had, and I'm surprised that it's still considered just a wee trading post. But this is why we give them loads of money. I'll try and be a bit more cheapskatey. Yeah, 500,000 works just fine. Just got back from work and you started streaming before I left. How are you still up, Sojourns? Wait, what? How long have you been working? That's kind of scary. Are you Japanese? Okay. Once again, there is money to spend here. So hopefully I only have to do this round once, because an upgrade is permanent no matter what happens to it afterwards. I mean, take Lübeck for example. We raised this city to nothing, but it still retained its status as Hanseatic city, which is important. Danzig is a city, Kongsberg is, because it's our own one. I want to check on that. It's a bit decadent not to make sure. Stockholm is a city, Riga is a city, Revel is a city, Helsinki is a city. Finally, Novgorod, and we just did you, didn't we? No, still a subsidiary. Oh, right, I have to wait until the 9th of July for that. And it's the 12th of June. So somebody remind me when in-game time is in middle of July that we need to go and do that. Oh, me, oh my. Alright, that was almost unbearably fun. Now we get to do something even more enjoyable. Let's look at our spreadsheet here, because I got myself a new one called Elections. I went to every city and I mapped when in the year they have their elections. These guys at the bottom, I did not bother mapping their elections because, you know what, you take up too much space, let's do that. I didn't bother mapping the elections of Scarborough to Helsinki and everything in between because those are my own cities. I am the despot ruler there. We can ignore the greyed out ones because they are inland cities and as such I haven't touched on them yet. I can also unread these ones because that was when I assumed I had a problem due to them being subsidiary or trading posts, so no fill on those. So that means I'm going to go through all of these places, become their mayors, and push out their walls and build chapels and infirmaries. And if you think that sounds like no fun at all, you are completely right. Holy Sword Society's completely lost it, haven't I just? So, what are we going to do about this? We're going to find out where we are. We're in the 12th of June. So the next place is Aalborg, which is on the 21st of June. So, good to know that. I can totally see myself not remembering this, so I'm just going to put a note next to Aalborg that that's the one I'm going for now. Yeah. Well, no time like the present. We go over to Aalborg. It is still a trading post, so we wait for it to become a city, and then we go to its counting house and we say we move here. But before I do that, my home is in Bremen, right? It would be foolish of me to do that before I build up Bremen, since I already got here. Not that Bremen is that far away, but I might as well do it so I don't have to move back. It would be a waste of money. And I better check for my what I plan to build Bremen up to. Bremen is going to be... Where's my city sizes here? Bremen, 57,000 people, which means they're going to need 19 chapels and infirmaries because that's as good as it gets. One of these does good for 3,000 people, so 19 of them will do good for 57,000 people. Better keep count here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. And same for chapels. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7... 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, nah, good enough. Alright, now I don't have to worry about the squares, because I don't care about them, period. I don't even know what this does. I mean, sure, maybe it impacts on this, but I have yet to really observe that. Don't believe things you can't observe, right? We've got tons of warehouses here, probably too many. And it's not crying out for more houses, although I'm sure it will in the future. Can worry about that later. So there, I've done everything I need to do in Bremen. The only other thing that I really want to do is utterly drain the treasury, because that money belongs to me. For that, I need autoclicker.exe to help me out. 100 clicks a second, please. And brrr, thanks for the dosh. Why bother leaving them with anything? So, as I said, we go to Aalborg, we go here, and we say, yeah, we're moving, ka-chunk. And what we do then is we run for the election. And that'll take place on the 21st of June, so in a few days. Now I need to be quick. If I miss afterwards, let's say I do my usual thing and get completely distracted, I might miss other elections and then I have to wait a whole year until I can do it again. So we should pay a bit of attention to that. Until then, we can kind of just watch everything fizzle by, which is lovely. Lots of trade routes are cancelling. This is exactly as planned. And as I said, I'm going to give it a wee time for my goods to pile up a wee bit. I feel pretty bad for Ripon not getting any of the metal goods that they want or deserve. Jake has a marriageable woman. What is this heresy? Hey, it's part of the game. Okay, so new entry. Patrician Marvin von Riga was elected mayor of Aalborg. Now you can only be the mayor of one city that you haven't made yourself. So that's why it shifts around. The ones that you establish, let's look at Scarborough, for example. We go to here and it says, the Honourable Marvin von Riga is mayor of Scarborough. There was no election. And there never will be. Callum Cartwright. Get the hell out of my city. You don't own anything here. So that is good to know. So now we're the big cheese of Aalborg, which means we get to upgrade the cathedral, upgrade the shipyard, but most importantly, potentially, move the wall. Although I'm wondering if I'd actually moved the wall myself previously, because it's not as far out as it could be. There we go, that's what I want to do. Now, are we sure this one is as far out as it can be? Yeah, okay, now it's a tiny change, but I'm still going to do it, because that's the kind of person I am. It'll take 29 days. Oh, good. Get to it. Yes, we might as well upgrade the everything. Yes, it costs money, but that's okay. And you also cost money, and that's okay as well. And it means I can do things like build the mint, build the everything, really. As we were always meant to do. This is some ugly... well, I mean, all the gridding is ugly, but nothing is quite lining up the way I want it to. So really I'm doing a favour for all these people. Yeah, Covenant School as well. And they certainly don't need any guard towers. Nobody does. I don't think there are any chapels already built. If there are, I certainly cannot see them. Are you going to make it, Jake? I'm not going to make it. Let's try and not make that some kind of in-jokey thing here. You know how I shun away from those. Okay, now Aalborg's population. Man, if I was a clever person, I would have put those down here. City size estimate for Aalborg is 60,000 on the nose. So that means we need 20 of each of these. And if you think this is going to get expensive, you're completely right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Goodbye money. And we want to do that for the infirmaries as well, because I care about my population. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, at least in so much as they give me money. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. The demand for building materials is going to skyrocket yet again because of all the stuff that I'm building. Not that I profit too much off of that, because I have to pay up front for building them anyway, so it's a hole in my pocket however you cut it. So I extended the wall, I built up the cathedral, I built up the chapels and the infirmaries. Is there anything else worth doing as a mayor? Well, I suppose I could build my own statue. Why not? Yeah, I guess there's one other important thing to do, and that is completely drain the city's coffers. I mean, I gotta make some of this money back. Let's be realistic here. And I don't know what the AI does with the tax rates, so we'll keep it low, because I won't be making that money anymore. I never expect to be back in Aalborg now that we've done all this. So excellent. Cheers and cheerio. Catchphrases are just a number for Jake because he's fat. Shut up, Max. Right, what else we got going on? Kaunas and Warsaw are the two next places where I could run for the election, because they happen in the 1st of July and the 3rd of July. You'd have to catch that one pretty quickly. However, all of these inland places are trading posts or subsidiaries. Maybe they're all just trading posts. Which means I can't move my family there, which also means I can't run for election. So the inland places I'll just have to deal with at another time. Note that I built up all these warehouses on the inland places, so I can actually start dropping off items there for use whenever. On that note, I have a guy who does such a thing. He's who is he? I think it's Red Crane, actually. Yeah, so building supplies inland. Okay, well, just building inland then. Yeah, because you go around everywhere and you automatically trade with wood and clay. Well, how about we change that? Yeah, I get that. I want you to trade by specifics here, where I want you to load max and unload max. And that way you're actually going to fill them up and the administrator is going to make sure that they all get enough wood and clay. This works out a lot better for me in just about every conceivable way. So I'm happy about that. Because otherwise they only trade with the marketplace, once every 23 days? That's not good enough. But I drop them off in my warehouses and then I will trade with the market every single day. It will actually make me money and it will ensure a lot smoother build-up of these inland cities. Keep in mind one thing though, I still do not want these people to be able to eat. I want to starve them to death so that I can more cheaply acquire pretty much the entire place. Speaking of places giving me problems. This city wall of Posen just does not want to build. And I don't know what more I can do for it. I guess I could demolish these and just try to build a slightly bigger wall. Doesn't have to be much bigger, just slightly bigger. Did I have another one over here? I can't really see much. I'd be able to see more if I did that. Okay, nothing else that I can see of mine out there. So let's try it again. Also, let's not do it with expensive wineries. Let's just build out a little bit, just to have a bit of wall to play with. And then when I become mayor of the place, I can sort it out good and proper. So, new wall, get to it. Here's an utterly maddening amount of money. Do it. Wait, you're not convinced? There we go. That's a pathetically small wall, seriously, but as long as they do it, I guess I can't complain too much. I'm not sure if I actually want these sawmills to be constructed, though. All that's going to happen is this place is going to fill up with wood. Well, they're going to need it someday, so I guess that's not too bad a thing. I'll go with it. Jake is still stingy with a few thousand ducats, despite the fact he has over 100 million. I worked for this 100 million, okay? You know who complains about the rich